We're going to start discussing specific crimes affecting business. First up, forgery. What is forgery? It's the fraudulent making or altering of any writing in a way that changes the legal rights and liabilities of another. That is what it is. Examples: without authorization, you sign my name to the back of a check that's made out to me. That's forgery. Another example: changing trademarks, falsifying public records, counterfeiting, and altering any sort of legal documents. All of those examples of forgery. Larceny. What's larceny? Well, larceny involves the unlawful taking and carrying away of someone else's personal property with the intent to permanently deprive the owner of possession. This is stealing. Stealing, theft, shoplifting in stores. We actually have levels of larceny. They can range from a misdemeanor to a very high level felony. A misdemeanor, petty larceny, anything that's less than $1,000 constitutes petty larceny. And then as we go above $1,000 or at $1,000 or more, we call it grand larceny. And we have levels. We can, fourth degree grand larceny is actually the lowest, and then third, second, and first is the highest level of a felony offense in larceny. And it's generally based on the amount in question, the value of whatever the property is, but in some cases, something specific, the specific type of property, can automatically constitute it as a felony level. For instance, stealing a credit card, that's going to be a felony. Don't even have to use it. You just have to steal it. Somebody steals somebody's wallet with the intent to take the cash out of it, and there's credit cards, it's going to elevate, especially if there's no cash or there's like $50, right? Less than $1,000. Cars. Somebody steals a car, that's going to be a felony level, even though the car might be valued at $500. So larceny. Robbery. That's our next crime we're going to discuss. What is it? It's forcefully, either by threat, intimidation, or actually physical. It's forcefully and unlawfully taking personal property of any value from another. This is where you use force. Somebody uses force or intimidation. That's usually, but holding a gun to somebody, right? Or I'm going to beat you up if you don't give me X. Displaying a knife, showing some sort of weapon. This is different than larceny because this requires some force. Burglary. What's burglary? This is breaking and entering with intent to commit a crime therein. And this also is a crime that has varying degrees. And breaking and entering could be a home or it could be a business. It could be any sort of structure. The idea is that there has to be an intent to commit a crime therein. If somebody breaks into a business in hopes to find warm shelter, not commit a crime therein, they might be charged with something less, like trespass. But it depends on the location, will depend on the degree. Breaking into somebody's home is a higher level of a crime than breaking into their garage or a warehouse or a business. That's a lower level. And committing a crime therein, most of the time it's stealing. Committing the larceny, that's the crime therein. But somebody can go and break in with an intent to do something else, like beat somebody up. So burglary, when you break in and enter some location with intent to commit a crime therein. Embezzlement, that's another crime we're going to talk about. What is it? This is the fraudulent taking or takeover. Conversion is another word that we use. Fraudulent taking of money or other property by a person to whom it has been entrusted. This is where we see that employee who steals money, like an office manager, right? Stealing companies' funds. How is this different from larceny? Still taking somebody's property. Well, there's a couple components here. One, the wrongdoer does not physically take the property. They don't actually physically take it. They can, funnel it in some other way. But here, the property's been entrusted. The office manager has to deal with the company funds and the company accounts. and the person has turned that over and trusted that property to them, and then they take it. So in larceny, that's not the case. Somebody just takes it. So a couple of examples. While hauling a load of refrigerators from San Diego to New York in a truck owned by National Appliance Company, Fred tries to sell some of the refrigerators. To display them, Fred breaks the seal, enters the cargo compartment, and opens 2 refrigerator cartons. And he sells them and pockets the money, say $1,000. Do we have embezzlement here? The answer is yes, we do, right? Our next example, while hauling a load of refrigerators from San Diego to New York owned by National Appliance Company, Fred tries to sell some of the refrigerators. So again, to display them, he breaks the seal, enters the cargo compartment, he opens 2 refrigerator cartons, but no one buys them, and the refrigerators never leave the truck. Fred is arrested and charged with embezzlement. Can he argue that there's no grounds to charge him because he never took anything off the truck? Is he correct in that regard? There's no embezzlement here. The key to this is that if a person has control over the property of another and has the intent of converting the goods or funds to his or her own use, it's embezzlement. So in Fred's case, that last example, yes, it's embezzlement. That was his intent. He had control over the property. It was his intent to convert those goods for his own benefit. Didn't work out for him, but that was his intent, and so he has committed the crime of embezzlement. All right, next slides, we're going to talk about fraud crimes.